So, folks, we have to talk about Portland because despite the fact that there is a temporary restraining order against the Trump administration preventing them from deploying soldiers into the city for literally no reason, it is still the focus of a lot of conservative ire, shall we say. And quick update on how the inflatable frog of Portland, Oregon is doing. Let's just take a look. He simply absorbed them and they made him stronger. He's getting stronger every day. The frog is my hero, right? But, like, this is what I mean. These people are deeply unserious, right? Like, they have, like, do you see these people? Do you see, like, these ICE agents, like, huddled and scared in, like, full military gear, like they're about to go into fucking Fallujah, and on the other end, there's a guy in a silly inflatable frog costume. Like, not only is this great protesting because damn, what a badass. But it's also great protesting because the optics fly in the face of everything that the Trump administration is trying to say is happening here. Right? Like, one, it makes them look pathetically weak. Number two, like, it absolutely decimates the narrative that, things are so violent, we need to send the military into Portland. And, like, that's just not at all backed up by facts on the ground whatsoever. Also, Lux Progressive, thank you very much for the raid. Welcome. Honestly, just a 10 out of 10 experience, and I do recommend. I think this is actually a pretty brilliant protest strategy. If you're kind of gearing up to do more local protests or attend your No Kings rally on October 18th, which you all should be, I gotta say, it's a lot harder to make an argument that your enemy is, like, rattling the gates just a hair's breadth away from slaying you all where you stand, when the enemies at the gates are these guys. I probably am gonna get DMCA'd for that, but I don't really care. It's pretty hard when you see a protest movement with several inflatable cartoon characters just getting jiggy with it, Yeah, grab a silly costume. It undermines their efforts to paint the protests as violent, It really, really does. Gotta throw this out there, right? Like, the protests in Portland have been so successful. Like, just so insanely successful. And the commitment to nonviolence has remained so firm that genuinely, after, like, the federal judge blocked troops from being deployed into Portland, the Oregon GOP and other conservative organizations had to start essentially stealing protest images from other countries, which sounds insane, but, like, actually it happened. Republicans have been posting fake protest images of the Portland protest in order to try and smear it as violent, but they're using pictures of protests from South America. If you scroll down here, you have the Oregon GOP. Today, POTUS deployed 300 California National Guard troops to Portland after a judge ruled the Oregon National Guard could not be deployed to keep federal facilities and personnel safe. President Trump deploys 300 California National Guard troops to Portland. And, like, wow, look at that picture behind them. It sure looks like Portland's in a lot of danger, right? Except that on closer inspection, however, it turned out that the image was not a photograph of a real event in Portland, but instead a fabrication created by combining two photographs of scenes that unfolded in South America nearly a decade apart. The image of the police officers from a photo of South American riot police that was uploaded to the Getty Images archive in 2008. You can see in the image that the shields are marked Policia. Similarly, the other photograph is from is from the archive site Pexels, and it's from Brazil. Anonymous people standing on street among smoke during protests at night from 2017. Like, they literally can't even be bothered to even try to find a picture that paints them in a good and justifiable light. They can't even try. And instead they're just like taking pictures off of Getty Images and splicing them together to try and make memes about Portland. It doesn't make any sense. But this is where we're at, you know, like, because there is such a lack of useful events happening on the ground in places like Portland and Chicago, they're having to try and create them either by, you know, lazily taking images of other protests or by trying to instigate violence. So, you know, credit here to teach_PDX on TikTok, as well as Matthew Sheffield for bringing this to my attention. But in this clip, you see a man dressed all in black, black face mask, black helmet, and it turns out that this man, well, you know what? Let's just play the clip, all right? Let's just play the clip here. They're trying to pose as Antifa.
Well, how? She's starting shit. I was minding my own fucking business. I was minding my own fucking business, and then you...
And I don't know who she is.
Oh, yeah. One of those people turns out to be Joey Gibson, a neo-Nazi that founded a group called Patriot Prayer. They're dressing up as Antifa super soldiers, I guess, and trying to instigate violence in the local community.
But she was recording people's faces.
Man, who are you, man?
Yeah, you just called out by one of
Who are you by chance? He's not down here.
I've been trolling the shit out of him for years.
Want it? Okay, great. Thank you.
Man, who are you?
That's crazy. It's, first of all, can we just stop on, like, the fact that this lady bothered to dress all in black and, like, have multiple layers of disguises to try and conceal her identity as a right-wing provocateur. And then when a camera is put in her face, she can't help but just, like, smile for the camera. That's crazy. These people are fucking nuts.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Man, who are
You
you?
made it real easy.
Hey, man.
Oh, and that woman, by the way, that's Joey Gibson's fiance, Lindsay Nichols. So, you know, like, the internet did figure out who she was. You know, just the fiance of a neo-Nazi. So, things are, honestly, like, it's complicated because obviously the rhetoric is ramping up regarding Portland. Like, the attempts to paint Portland in a negative, violent light have definitely ratcheted up over the past 24 hours. But at the same time, protesters have been holding strong and, like, refusing to give in to this bait. This is excellent work. Excellent, excellent work. Yeah, like, I'm just feeling... It's hard for me not to feel hopeful here. Right? An opinion essay was published in the New York Times earlier today, Where Trump is Vulnerable and How to Act on It, by Henry J. Farrell, who is a professor of democracy and international affairs at Johns Hopkins. And I would really like to point out this piece here, right? The administration is targeting a small group of schools, which it describes as possible good actors. It hopes that if institutions like Brown and University of Virginia roll over, others will submit too. It wanted to signal strength. Instead, it's revealing its weakness. The administration needs to break the academy, is forcing it to make a desperately risky gamble. As political theorists like Russell Hardin have explained, power is a coordination game, in which everything depends on what the public believes and does together. Even the most brutal tyrant does not have enough soldiers and police officers to compel everyone to obey at gunpoint. Authoritarian regimes need civil society, the realm of people and organizations outside government control, to acquiesce to their rule. East Germany's dictatorship collapsed when multitudes began to march and organize against it, collapsing the illusion that everyone accepted tyranny. The struggle over regime change is about whether the aspiring authoritarians can subdue civil society. Their strategy is to play, divide, and conquer, rewarding friends and brutally punishing opponents. They win when society cracks, creating a self-enforcing set of expectations in which everyone shuts up and complies because everyone expects everyone else to shut up and comply too. Those who oppose authoritarianism have to play a different game, creating solidarity among an unwieldy coalition, which knows that if everyone holds together, they will surely succeed. This too can become a self-reinforcing set of expectations, but only if the coalition's members resist the threats and promises of those who are trying to break it. And I just want to stop there because that part hit me like a sledgehammer today, right? Like, when you are feeling hopeless, understand that this administration wants you to feel hopeless. They want you to give up because it is only by you feeling hopeless and giving up that they win. As long as we hold true to each other and hold the line, they can't win. They actually can't. It is not possible for them to win. So what needs to happen here is for everyone in this country to take up the same kind of basic mentality. And I'm not even talking like we need to share fundamental values writ large, but one value we do all need to hold dear, and that is in order to keep this coalition together, and that is the basic ideology: America is where kings and tyrants go to die. This is a country that is founded on freedom. This is a country that's very idea is anathema to tyrants and authoritarians. This is a place where that type of governance, that type of power, that type of centralization is utterly and completely rejected. And that is something that we all need to kind of come together and agree on. Like, there are no kings in the United States. And this is why I think one of the guiding ethos of these recurrent mass mobilization protests being no kings is so important. And the basic premise that here in America, we reject tyrants. We reject tyranny. That needs to be something that echoes from, West Coast to East Coast and everywhere else in all the lands. This is not a place where we tolerate this type of authoritarian overreach. And one of the best ways to really bring people together is to make these protests fun, to make these protests accessible, to make these protests make the administration look ridiculous. And I think that is something that a lot of people have been successfully able to tap into, especially in Portland, especially in Chicago right now. Because bravery doesn't always look like, picking up the weapons of war and marching off to bravely die in a foxhole. That's not the only way bravery can look. Sometimes bravery is standing in front of an elderly person at a protest so that you get pepperballed and they don't. Sometimes bravery is, being willing to stand out in a protest by wearing a silly costume in order to lighten the mood. Sometimes bravery takes on many different forms, and everywhere that freedom rings, so too does bravery. And I just want to really emphasize here that we are all capable of being brave, and we are all capable of doing hard things. Regardless of your station, regardless of your class, regardless of, any other external circumstances, you are all capable of being brave and doing hard things. And you are all, every one of you, down to the last man, woman, NB, etc., capable of saying, fuck you, make me, to this administration. And that energy is what will win the day. Because they do not have enough people to make you. They do not have enough money pumped into ICE, even as one of the largest amounts of money to fund a a militarized force on Earth. They do not have enough resources to police every single one of us. When you say, fuck you, make me, or fuck you, make us, they can't, and they know that. It is a fundamental limitation of their authoritarian overreach. And so, I just want you all to take some hope from this. Like, they can't even fabricate evidence. They can't even make up a plausible situation in which Portland is a genuine threat that they need to occupy. They can't do it. And I just want to point out, like, the gulf between what they want to do and what they can do is only going to get bigger from here, because we are already slowing down and or stopping them. They can try and intensify, they can try and escalate, but at the end of the day, when you look at Chicago, when you look at Portland, they are not able to clamp down on even just these two cities. Hell, even Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C., they deployed the National Guard, and the National Guard had so little to do because so little was going on. They wound up doing landscaping and picking up trash. So, what I want to do here is to point out, if this administration can't even remove a comedian from network television, they certainly can't strip away our fundamental rights as Americans. They might try, they might be able to change some papers around, but keep in mind every single change that they have attempted and even maybe partially succeeded at, because we are going to win. And when we win, we need to reverse all of those and, in fact, improve protections for workers, improve pay for workers, improve rights for workers, improve housing for workers, improve, food for workers, improve the amount of free time people experience. We can do this. We can give every worker in the country health care. We can give every single person in this country health care. Because what this administration has shown us more than anything is that any of the traditional limitations that have been put on the American government no longer exist. And if they ever did, were fragile at best. When we win this, we must tax the wealthy and improve the lives of people who work, of people who make up the vast majority of this country, the 99%. Because we should not be held at gunpoint by the 1%, and that is exactly what is happening right now. We are being held at the gunpoint of the 1%, and they have no means to actually enforce their dystopian wills upon us. So folks, I want to see each and every one of you turn up on October 18th for No King's Day. And, if you need to sign up, you can head on over to nokings.org. It's a pretty catchy name. And, folks, please do remember to sign up, events in your local area. I checked it out, and it looks like only if you are someone who's trying to coordinate the event and willing to put your name on it, do you need to actually give over some of your personal information. Otherwise, just go. Just mark your calendar and go. And if no one is doing a local event, if no one's doing an event close enough to go to in 30 minutes, host your own event in your local area. Guarantee you there's going to be other people who want to go. Here is the link in chat. And folks, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm always bad at asking for that at the beginning of the segment, but I'm going to try and get better. That being said, like, comment, and subscribe. Do the thing. Support the stream. Drop those subs, donos, memberships, and super chats, because this show is ultimately brought to you by viewers like you. I could not do it without you fine folks. And, that with that being said, let's move on. Yeah, hit the bell as well, I guess.
Riverboat deck is going to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube and Swishy streams. All that content is bursting the scenes. holidays, ain't plenty more. Your sense of fashion, you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord. Riverboat.